series. And without further ado, guys, spawning in the bottom left position of the map, that is Newkirk Precinct. Coming in as the blue Protoss for complexity, it is ViPro, formerly of Karante Esports Club. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right position as the red Terran player. Coming in from Western Wolves, it is Sting. So we have another Acer TeamStory Cup best of 9, all kill format team match. It's just like last season. We've kept the format the same for the most part. So yeah, this is one of the earlier matches of the season. I actually think this is the 3rd match played this season. Quantic just defeated Millennium, and we saw Axiom actually defeat Acer just yesterday. So we've already got the whole Acer TeamStory Cup thing rolling. It's been a pretty good start to everything. So we'll have to see. This is of course the first game, and TvP, fun matchup. Generally an explosive, aggression-based matchup. This is one of those maps where there were a lot of really good builds for aggressive play on both sides in the early phases of Heart of the Storm. We saw a lot of proxy oracles. We've seen many a fast mine drop, and I do wonder what we're going to get out of ViPro, but it looks like Western Wolves Sting wants to go straight for that command center first, playing for the super economic opener, which is pretty typical. We see Terran players, especially in the beginning of Heart of the Swarm, it was so difficult. We saw a lot of Terran players struggling to go for these fast expand builds. We saw a lot of Terran players opening up rather defensively for these Oracle plays, but with more and more time, they've been able to get into those comfortable positions. They've been able to get themselves situated in a nice place where they can generally do whatever they want to once again. But ViPro, he's going to put a pylon on the bottom left side of his main. It's kind of interesting. It's not necessarily a sign that he's going to hide something there, but he certainly could, as he does move down now to take that natural expansion. So both players opening up rather economically. Of course, the expansion is much faster for Sting. His command center is basically about to finish up as the Nexus begins for ViPro. Not a huge deal, of course. Terran player will generally expand first in this matchup, just because the Protoss player is a very significant vulnerability if they were to get a Nexus before something like the Cybernetics core. But Sting is going to come up with an SCV scout, and he's going to see that there's not really anything weird happening. The Mothership core is done, but that's all ViPro has right now. It can kill the worker scout off if it stays too close, but he should get all the information. He actually has not spotted that Nexus. He comes into the main base. He sees both assimilators, and he only sees one pylon, which might lead him to believe that the additional pylons could be hidden, but no, he sees that Nexus, and looking at the timing of it, he can tell that it was built a little while ago. So it's not a really late expand. He tells it's a fast expand, and he doesn't have to worry about anything like a very fast Oracle play now. He no longer has to worry about aggressive builds, and that just kind of puts him in a nice comfortable spot. ViPro's Stalker moving out should be able to stop this SCV from getting any more scouting information. It does make it up the ramp, and he actually gets in, which is nice. He can see that this robotics facility is on the way before any additional gateways. So knowing that means ViPro wants to play a relatively safe standard opener. He actually did not scout at all. ViPro's only scouting will come in the form of this Mothership core, so opening up with a Robo and a Forge is his way of playing defensively. And there's already Marines here at the edge of this ramp waiting. Now, the Mothership core has the longest vision radius of any unit in the game of StarCraft 2, so very easy for him to avoid these Marines. The Marines don't even know the Mothership core came. In fact, I don't actually think Sting even knows the Mothership core was anywhere near close to him. But these Marines are starting to move down a little bit. He's trickling them out. Stimpak's on the way. Gas is taken in the main base. You should see a factory come up just a little bit here as Sting accumulates the gas for that. Now, what ViPro does next, let's take a look. Twilight Council is going to be tucked away. There's no upgrades even started. So this is, Twilight Council is not for the purpose of rushing out something like +2. He has the +1 being chronoed now, but I do think there's a chance we could see something like, maybe a DT drop in the mid-game. maybe a really, really fast Storm Rush. Without a Robotics Bay, there's not really any chance for Colossi, but it will be a Dark Shrine. So I assume we'll see a Warp Prism relatively soon from ViPro. There's no missile turrets at the front of Sting's base, and I'm kind of wondering if he's really anticipating this. Sting, the Korean Terran player, probably wouldn't face ViPro very much, or really wouldn't face him at all on ladder, so it kind of draws this interesting dynamic of what do you expect. But he's going to move out here. ViPro Stalker's going to get caught off guard. Sting gets one of them, trying for the second, gets so close, but in the end, he does manage to get away. Very lucky for ViPro. He most certainly should have lost both of those Stalkers. No doubt about it. The Dark Shrine is going to be done in about 50 seconds. That Warp Prism is now being chrono boosted out. So ViPro will be able to go for that DT drop about as soon as the Dark Shrine is done. And the Observer's kind of sitting here watching, waiting. There are no missile turrets on in either base for Sting right now. He's getting a little bit supply hindered. A little supply depot hindered, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Robotics base coming up, so he's going to go for a Colossus follow-up, a DT drop. Very smart play. By forcing out scans and potentially making Sting think that he wants to stick to the... If he gets Sting to basically stick to dealing with the Templars, if he anticipates a high Templar switch after Dark Templar, then he might go for something like Ghosts, which of course the Colossi will do very well against in the early stages of the game. You need Vikings to hold on. And third command center starting up. He actually burned a scan on that Observer and dropped a mule, so he only has one scan available to him. We'll have to see. Now he actually scans for another Observer. No, okay, scans to see what the tech is, but that means this Warp Prism can get in, and there's no scans. There's no missile turrets either. He's going to get in. He wants to stop the Warp Prism from getting closer here. Oh, ViPro had a really great opportunity. He doesn't realize that he can drop these Dark Templar with no repercussions at all. The Zealot's going to come over here and try to stop this spotting supply depot, but man, ViPro has no idea that there's nothing to deal with the DTs, and by the time he gets, if he does manage to get in there, now he's already missed his opportunity. There's going to be another scan in just a moment. A really big missed opportunity by ViPro. There was absolutely nothing there to deal with the Dark Templar, and now Sting kind of gets lucky. So ViPro will try to take his third base, but now without any Colossi, he has one that's about to finish, but he doesn't have the extended thermal lance. He does not have that Colossus range upgrade. This Bioforce with the combat shield should be able to just cancel this third, no problem. My only question is, will Sting see that there's even a third? Because Sting doesn't even know that there's Dark Templar on the map there. One Marine will get killed. Is he really going to run into this? He needs to be careful. A couple force fields go down. The Colossus is actually doing some damage. This is way more than Sting bargained for. Still able to kill off a good couple of sentries, but he's giving ViPro the best engagement humanly possible. The Marauder's just going to try to bum rush the Colossus, though. The unit count is so low due to that early investment in the Dark Templar. He's just fighting through the photon overcharge. Sting doesn't care. Probes are being pulled off to deal with this, and he's just going to be able to kill off a decent bit of the economy here. The Stalkers are doing their job, however, in cleaning up the Bioforces, but he's managed to kill off about 6 or so probes. Nothing huge, but what's really huge is the resources lost. It doesn't look like much, but there's really not that much army supply anymore. There's only about 22. There's another Colossus about to finish, but just a handful of Stalkers in that Warp Prism with the Dark Templar. It's going to swing around the top side of the map. Just fine. There's still no missile turrets because Sting still doesn't even know that there's a Dark Shrine. Sting never realized it. He never saw it with his scans. He has no idea there was even a Twilight Council that early, so this DT drop should work because the only command center that has a scan is in the air, and I assume it might drop a mule. I like that he's keeping his scan available. There's an Observer watching his army outside the natural. And Sting is just playing so ballsy here, running up, splitting his units. Now the DT is going to come in here and add in some DPS versus this army as the drop hits the natural expansion of these DTs, for ViPro doing so much damage against these SCVs. Even this DT giving chase, picking off Marines one by one. He does he even scan? No, now he scans. He scans after the DTs leave. The weapon carries them away. These Marauders are going to try to kill off the Colossus before the DTs kill him off. He does manage to grab that, so both players trading quite heavily. We have 11 SCVs killed by those Dark Templar, but now he knows. Now we have the missile turrets at each base. So Sting won't be caught off guard as badly. The drop's going to hit the main base. He's just going to try to use these Marauders to pick off individual probes, and he is killing those probes at a really nice pace. The Dark Templar runs over, tries to shove them back, and Sting's going to retreat for now. I'm really liking this back and forward action that we've got going on here. This game relatively intense so far. This is good. This is really, really good stuff. We have some great control from Sting. Despite a couple of macro issues, he has managed to stay in a pretty decent spot. He survived against the Dark Templar well enough, and I love that he's splitting them off, just trying to do some damage to the workers here and there. If he could pick off this missile turret, that'd be very annoying. And he's just going to go for the SCVs before some of the Marines run down to take him out. Even using the SCVs to fight off that DT, but he's going to get, he's got 11 kills so far, 12 kills on this Dark Templar, even shift queuing so he can kill off as many SCVs as possible, but Sting's running up again. There's no Colossi this time. A couple of Dark Templar with the army, though. He's really forcing Sting to use those scans, but these DTs, the DPS is so nice. If you don't scan, this is just going to cleave this army to shreds. A fantastic maneuver. ViPro, I want to know how many kills all Dark Templar made in this game have so far, because it's actually absurd how much damage he's been able to do. Even throwing in the Archon without the Colossus, he's still holding this aggression. A couple of these gateways need to be put into warp gate mode, but he's doing quite well. He's on double forge, +3 armor. He's going to finish single trapper DT into the natural. Kills maybe 1 or 2 more SCVs. We have a total of 21 SCVs killed versus 10 probes. So very nice. This observer is watching the factory, making sure there's no drops coming in. And I kind of like the supply depot. You can spot the warp prism's movement patterns. Since the warp prism was given that speed buff by a balance patch about a month or so ago, the Viking cannot catch the warp prism in open air. They're relatively close in speed, but that warp prism is just a bit faster. And ViPro's starting to move out. He's going to have that 2-3 upgrade setup. And Sting, his 2-2 is about to finish. This attack, actually, if this attack hits before the 2-2 for Sting completes, I think he's just dead. He's so close to 2-2, but he cannot fight with 1-1 versus what is essentially going to be 3-3. 2-2 so close. Here comes the attack from ViPro. He really wants to bring the pain. 2-2 is done. There's a couple of ghosts, so he needs blanket EMPs on everything. The Immortals will do great versus the Marauders. And then everything else just really does a ton of damage versus the Marines. There's some EMPs. The Archon's being immediately shut down. Still one on the right side as the charge lots bomb rush their way through, giving himself a really nice surface area denial on the Zealots. Some of these Bioforces getting chopped up, though. The army supply favoring ViPro, but more ghosts come in, dropping more of the EMPs on top of this army. Can he hold it off? Sting is evening out this army supply as much as possible, but there's so much here. The Zealots are going to chew up all the SCVs at the third base. The Immortals are still alive. There's 4 Immortals with that +3 armor, so hard to kill, and he just denies this third base so nicely. At the same time, ViPro has a 4th. ViPro's making that switch back into Colossus. He's getting Storm out now, +3 attack, extended thermal lance, even going for the shield upgrades as he no longer has to upgrade his armor. This is a very tense situation. Sting is pretty much locked inside his base. He's down on supply. What do you do to bring yourself back as a Terran in this situation? There's honestly not that much. A lot of these units aren't really ability-based. They're just raw firepower, and ViPro just has so much of it. He's going to try to run down and save this third base. He does manage to get it back. He scans, kills the Observer, but there's no cloak for the Ghosts. He can't try to make any kind of comeback Ghost play. Obviously, he doesn't have anything like nukes, so as a second robo facility gets added, he takes a couple pot shots at Sting's army, but ViPro is looking very strong here in this Acer TeamStory Cup opening game for this match between Complexity and Western Wolves. A couple Vikings are out, but he can't really afford to make much more. The main base mineral line is essentially gone. The natural is honestly running very, very low itself, and ViPro can basically just keep pumping out mass tons of Zealots because there's just not enough firepower from Sting to kill it off. He has a good medevac count, sure. Throws down the scan. He sees even more charge lots being warped in, and he's just going to try to get a full surround with this army. You don't often see Protoss players setting up the huge flanks, but I think he could just basically aim his way through this at this point. He's just waiting. He wants to have the perfect composition and not get a single chance. There he goes. The Storm's coming in. Storm flanks. He does snipe off a decent number of the Templar. Actually snipes off the majority of them, but there's just so much gateway force here. The Zealots actually taking more damage from those Storms than Sting, but that's just too much. GG, and ViPro takes game number 1 here for Complexity in this Acer TeamStory Cup.